The morning after their wedding, Michelle moved into Minjun's penthouse. His home was as immaculate and intimidating as its owner. Walls of glass overlooked the bustling city, while minimal furniture sat perfectly arranged. It was his haven. Now his wife stepped into it, tapping her white cane softly, her hands sliding across every surface as she explored. Michelle could feel his gaze following her as she moved, inhaling his scent that lingered in every corner of the house. She continued exploring, while Minjun trailed quietly behind her, making sure she was safe and answering any questions she asked. "Don't move anything around," Minjun said when she finished. "Your room is yours to arrange, but I'd prefer the rest of the house stayed as it is." Michelle understood the tightness in his voice. He expected her to argue, but she honestly couldn't care less how his house was arranged. All that mattered was getting used to the space to avoid accidents. "I won't rearrange anything," Michelle replied. After a pause, she added, "I do have a favor to ask, though." This piqued Minjun's interest. "Can I use the room at the end of the hall?" she asked, referring to the empty room she had entered earlier. "Is the room where the workers placed your things not to your liking?" Minjun asked, puzzled. "My brothers are bringing my art supplies from my studio at home over the weekend, and I need somewhere to keep them," Michelle explained, fiddling with her cane. She knew what came next, the questions everyone asked when they learned she was an artist. "How do you see the colors? How do you know you're painting correctly?" They always dismissed her talents the moment they realized she was blind. "You can use the room," Minjun said, surprising her. Then he added something no one outside her family or closest friends had ever said to her. "I'd love to see your work sometime. Let the butler know if you need anything." With that, he walked away. Minjun and Michelle's lives together were like two parallel lines, rarely meeting, even though they lived under the same roof. Minjun buried himself in work to keep his mind off his beautiful, intriguing wife, while Michelle spent her days painting and learning every corner of the house so she could move with ease, with or without her cane. During their second weekend together, Minjun called Michelle out to have breakfast with him. The timing was perfect. She had something to discuss with him, and from the silence in the air, she could tell he did too. "I heard about an art exhibition through a friend, and I plan to display some of my work," Michelle said, as she spread jam on her toast. "I wasn't aware that Kang Arts was planning an exhibition at this time of year," Minjun replied flatly. When Michelle calmly explained that she hadn't planned on exhibiting through the Kang family's subsidiary, she heard Minjun's cutlery clatter sharply onto his plate. "Do I need to remind you what family you've married into?" he said, his voice tightening. "The moment the wife of the Kang heir steps outside the family's business, the public will start asking questions." "I just want to achieve something on my own. I'll even exhibit under a different name," Michelle said, her voice almost pleading. For a moment, Minjun almost agreed, but he knew they had to present a united front if he wanted to secure his position in the group. "No, and that's final," he said, rising from the table. "Be ready at 5. We'll be joining my father for dinner," he added, and walked out the door. Michelle sat at the table, dismayed. She had wanted to be an artist since she was a child, and losing her sight didn't take that from her. She hadn't exhibited publicly because her brothers kept her out of the public eye to protect her. But if she couldn't see her work, she at least wanted others to see it, to feel it, and tell her what it made them feel. The tension lingered in the weeks that followed. Minjun stayed out later than usual, while Michelle threw herself even deeper into her art. Occasionally, she received visits from her mother and brothers, and even from Minjun's sister, Siri. The two women had hit it off quickly, and Michelle was glad to have a new friend and sister. Despite Minjun's disapproval, Michelle went ahead and registered for the art exhibition. It didn't matter that no one would know it was her work. She simply wanted to share it with the world. Other than the frequent Kang family dinners, at which Michelle and Minjun did their best to appear cordial, they barely spoke. Michelle made it a point to stay in her room or studio whenever she heard him come home. She was doing just that one evening when she heard a soft knock on her studio door. "Come in!" Michelle called, feeling a flicker of anxiety about someone entering her space. She recognized Minjun's footsteps as he moved around the room, probably examining her art pieces. When he finally spoke, his voice was soft. "These are beautiful, Michelle." She couldn't have answered, even if she'd wanted to. Her throat tightened and her eyes filled with tears. Something about the way he'd said those words made her feel seen, truly seen, for the first time in a long while. "You went ahead and put your name down for that exhibition, didn't you?" Minjun asked, walking closer. "No one will even know it's me," Michelle said, hoping this wouldn't turn into another argument. "I just want my work out there." "I understand," Minjun said, pulling up a stool beside her. "I can come with you if you want." Michelle tilted her head skeptically. "Why?" she asked, not understanding his sudden change of heart. "I can't seem to fix my work problems," Minjun said with a sigh. "So maybe I should try fixing my personal life first." He sounded tired. Curious, Michelle asked what was happening at work. To her surprise, Minjun opened up. He told her how the Kang Group's board of directors was divided on whether to let him take over. His uncle, Kang Do-hyun, had been undermining him, magnifying every small mistake to use against him. Chairman Kang had recommended Minjun to the board, but some members remained undecided. Although the main Kang family held the largest share in the group at 35%, Kang Do-hyun owned a significant portion himself. With several board members with considerably large shares supporting him, he could end up being elected as the next chairman. When Minjun finished, silence filled the room. Michelle finally understood why he'd been against her exhibiting elsewhere. It could be misinterpreted as a potential separation between him and his wife, something his rivals would gladly exploit. "Maybe I should sit out this exhibition and try again when things quiet down," she said softly. Minjun placed his hand over hers, surprising her. "I don't think you should hold off on your dreams just so I can achieve mine," he said. "I just need to get the other board members on my side before the annual meeting in 3 months. If it comes down to it, my mother still holds a 5% stake in the company, and if I really need her help, she'll show up." Sensing her curiosity about the whereabouts of his mother, he explained, "My parents got divorced when we were old enough to understand what the term meant. Even though I don't see her often, she's still a part of our lives. I'm sorry that happened. It must have been hard on you," Michelle said, lifting a hand to touch his face. He froze at her touch. Her hand was cold and paint-stained, but the gesture warmed something deep inside him. Though he'd always acted like everything was fine, he had never really gotten over his parents' divorce. It had made him uninterested in marriage, or more accurately, scared of marriage, of forming a connection with someone only to watch them leave. Michelle withdrew her hand, thinking of what to say to comfort him. She understood what it felt like to lose something you loved, to work for a dream, only to watch everything go wrong when you were so close. So she told him her story. "I lost my sight when I was 14, in the same car accident that killed my father," Michelle began, her voice trembling as she revisited the worst day of her life. "The doctors said the blurred vision would likely go away with time, but it got worse, and there was nothing they could do about it. So I lost both my dad and my dream of participating in the national art exhibition I had spent years preparing for. For the next 3 years, I grieved my dad and my vision, unable to move on. My family was concerned about my mental state and did everything they could to make me happy. Each day seemed unbelievably hard, until I found the strength to paint again. Gradually, the days became bearable and even somewhat enjoyable, and here we are. So, in a sense, painting saved my life, and that's why I want to share that gift with the world." Michelle reached out again, resting her hand on his arm. Minjun knew her paint-stained fingers would leave a mark on his shirt, but he didn't care. His eyes stayed fixed on her as she said, "Things might look chaotic now, and they might even get worse, but they'll certainly get better. And at least you know I'll always be on your side." In that moment, Minjun felt as though he were truly seeing Michelle for the first time. Taking her hands in his, he said softly, "Well, now I guess I really have to come to that exhibition to support you." Michelle smiled, her face lighting up. She nodded, not seeing the tenderness in his eyes, or the single tear that slipped down his cheek.